going to get, only to find out later you didn't get it. I had a client who... Have you ever interviewed for a role that you thought you were going to get, only to find out later you didn't get it? I had a client who experienced the same situation. She'd been with her employer for over 25 years when she decided to apply for a higher level role, competing against a person with less tenure. My client just knew she would get the role based on her performance over the years and tenure with the company. Unfortunately, she didn't get the role. Someone with less tenure did. When my client asked why, the hiring manager shared, "You have 1 year of experience 25 times. You never diversified your skills. The person who got the role is less tenured, but they have the equivalent of 10 years of experience based on how they have diversified their skills." That was a sobering wake-up call for my client. I've seen so many clients with strong performance and lots of years of experience interview for roles only to get turned down because they haven't developed new skills. A great way to determine where you need to diversify your skills so that you can be competitive the next time you apply for a job is to conduct a career skills audit. A career skills audit is assessing your functional, technical, and interpersonal skills against the requirements for your target job. The value is that you have data to understand your core skills and transferable skills, and you uncover potential gaps between your skills and your target job requirements. Let me show you how this worked for one of my clients who went through a career skills audit recently. Anna, a senior finance leader, decided that she wanted to transition into an HR leader role. She decided to start a career skills audit because of constructive feedback she received from her manager regarding her strategic planning and influencing skills. First, she researched HR leader roles, talking to HR leaders in her network and reviewing HR leader job descriptions. This gave Anna insights into skills associated with the HR leader role. Next, Anna took an inventory of her own skills by looking at her experiences and results over the past 10 years. She revisited her development plan and performance appraisals. Using the data she gathered, Anna listed her current skills and rated them on a scale of 1 to 5. Additionally, Anna connected with trusted colleagues, previous managers, and direct reports to get their perspective on her skills and gaps. From there, Anna was armed with insights about her skills, including her transferable skills and a few gaps she needed to close. She developed a 6-month plan to close her skill gaps by signing up for courses online, working in a stretch assignment, and taking on a community nonprofit board leadership opportunity. Anna's proactive planning paid off. Less than 12 months after conducting her career skills audit, she secured a new HR leader role within her company. As you're coaching yourself to career success, consider taking a page from Anna's playbook and conduct a career skills audit. First, research the requirements for the roles you're interested in. Then, take an inventory of your skills. Assess your skills personally and ask colleagues to do the same. Recognize your skill gaps and create a plan to close your gaps. Conducting a career skills audit is good career hygiene. Consider doing it once a year and using the data from the audit to prepare for your next move. Also, it just might make you better at the job you're already doing. Have you ever been in a meeting and you had something you really wanted to say, but didn't say anything? Perhaps you wanted to ask your manager for a promotion. Maybe you wanted to disagree with a colleague or suggest a different proposal, but you couldn't quite work up the nerve. Admittedly, I experienced many of these challenges early in my career where I felt stuck voiceless, and unsure of myself. I learned that the solution was to harness my self-confidence. Self-confidence is having unwavering belief in yourself, regardless of your limitations. We all have strengths and weaknesses. When you have self-confidence, you use your strengths to move forward. Self-confidence is foundational to everything you want to do, including coaching yourself to achieve your career goals. Take time to understand your confidence level in your current role at work. You could use a basic scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high and 1 being low. Where do you fall on the scale? Ideally, you want to be between 8 and 9, where you have a strong confidence level, but there's still space to grow. If your confidence is not in that range, don't worry. It's normal for confidence to dip and rise like a seesaw based on what's happening in your career and life. Maybe you just got favorable feedback on a presentation and your confidence at the time is an 8. And then the next day, a business partner shares unfavorable feedback that lowers your confidence to a 4. If your confidence is low, it's important to determine the core reason. Are you comparing yourself to others, caring too much about what other people think, criticizing yourself? Be completely open and honest with yourself, even if it's hard. Then ask yourself, what actions do I need to take to move 1 to 2 points up the confidence scale in 30 days? Many of my clients have done the following to strengthen their confidence. Start an achievements inventory, capturing wins you've attained in your career and life. Consider keeping a good job folder with all of your achievements you receive from your managers, colleagues, direct reports, and other stakeholders. When you feel low confidence, pull out that file to remind yourself of who you are and your results. I'll bet it gives your self-confidence a big boost right away. Engage in visualization exercises. When you visualize, you can create images in your head of what you'd like to achieve. It can be extremely powerful in building your inner confidence. Start by closing your eyes and visualizing the situation where you want to strengthen your confidence. Now see yourself feeling and being confident. Consider your words, body language, and even what you're wearing that showcases your confidence. Take about 5 minutes to really put yourself in the moment. From there, open your eyes and see how you're feeling. Do this exercise daily for 1 week leading up to the situation. Once you're in the actual moment, there will be familiarity and it'll be easier to tap into that confidence because your mind has already been there multiple times. Another way to boost your confidence is to think of a time in your career when you felt really confident and achieved successful outcomes. Now really think about what actions you took to get there. As Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues, so follow the clues. Imagine what you could accomplish if you had a little more self-confidence. I suspect you would achieve a lot. You've probably heard the question, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? When I've asked my clients, some of the answers I've heard include, ask for the promotion I should have received years ago, take a stretch assignment, transition to a new role, go back to school, and change careers. When I'm asking them to tell me what's getting in the way of them moving forward, typically their shoulders slump and voices lower with feelings of sadness. And then the answer they share is fear. Everyone struggles with fear. Fear of the known and unknown, fear of failing, and even fear of succeeding. It takes tremendous courage to move forward in the midst of fear. Activating your courage is critical to achieving the results you want. Let's explore how to use courage in coaching yourself. Consider the situation you're grappling with. It might be transitioning to a new career. What excites you about it? Maybe it's learning new skills, having more purposeful work, or increasing your chances to move up the ladder faster. Envision all of the possibilities. Now I want you to consider the fears you have about the situation, both your fears that are top of mind and the greatest fears you've never shared out loud. You'll know that you've captured your greatest fears by the unpleasant emotions you feel when you're starting to think about them. Sit with the emotions and label them. Maybe you're feeling anxiety, frustration, or hopelessness. How do those negative emotions get in the way of you moving forward? It could be that you're not speaking up in meetings when you have innovative ideas, or it could be that you're not applying for the job that you know you're qualified for. Once you understand your fears and what's holding you back, write down actions you can take to move forward, even in the midst of fear. Consider what needs to shift in your behaviors and approach. Maybe you need to be more optimistic, resilient, and strategic. Perhaps you need to create an affirmation that anchors you like, I am courageous, I am bold, I achieve all of my goals. This could be scary and uncomfortable, and that's okay. Narrow your list to 3 to 5 actions and experiment with them for 30 days. When you're done, ask yourself, what worked well, what didn't, and where do you make changes in your approach? Take what you learn and apply any changes to your actions, experimenting until you achieve your goals. I'd like to leave you with a quote by Franklin Roosevelt. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important than fear. In this case, it's advancing your career goals no matter what. Take a moment and look around your room and consider what you see. I'll join you. Looking around my office, I see a computer, camera, books, windows, blinds, and an iPad. One commonality with all of these things is that they're all creations that were once a thought in someone's mind. As inventors take their ideas from thoughts to something tangible, they have to go through a series of experiments to test the products and make tweaks along the way. Perhaps you've been thinking about a career challenge you've been grappling with for a while. Maybe it's even impacting your personal life. Just as inventors run experiments when creating new products, it'll be important for you to experiment with new behaviors that support you in achieving your career success. How do you know what new behaviors to experiment with? First, consider the goal you're trying to achieve. It could be moving to a new role, learning a new skill, or expanding your network. From there, think about the past 12 to 24 months and identify your behaviors that could be getting in the way of your success. Here are some examples: passivity, fear, fixed mindset, giving up too quickly, and dwelling on past failures. It's extremely important to pinpoint these current behaviors that are not serving you. Another way to identify the behaviors is to ask colleagues for their unbiased and candid feedback. You can even look back at performance feedback. Once you have the behaviors nailed down, align each one with a new behavior that supports you in achieving your goal. How about we explore a few examples? Let's say you notice that you're passive in your career. That would be the current behavior, and the new behavior would be to exercise assertiveness. What if you identified being fearful as a behavior that gets in the way of your success? Don't feel bad, as we've all wrestled with fear at some point in our lives. A new behavior would be to lean into being courageous, which is feeling the fear, but making the intentional decision to move forward. Here's one last one. Let's say you identified a behavior of giving up too fast. A new behavior to consider adopting would be tenacity. Next, you should learn what these behaviors look like when they're successfully applied. Let's take assertiveness. Think about a person who has strong assertiveness skills. Connect with them to understand how they've developed this skill. You could also tap into other resources like learning videos, courses, and articles. Once you have an understanding of the new behaviors, begin experimenting with them. It would be overwhelming to try to experiment with all of the behaviors at once. Start with the two most important ones. Consider experimenting with them first in a safe environment like at home or in an organization where you volunteer. Keep a journal on what worked well, what didn't, and any changes you need to make in applying the new behaviors. Also, gather feedback from a trusted person in your circle on how well you're using the new behaviors. Seeing changes in your new behaviors could take time. Don't give up. Consider how awesome it will be when you achieve your goal. Like when Morris D. Ralph invented the cleaning formula 409. He was determined to formulate the greatest grease-cutting, dirt-destroying, bacteria-crushing cleaner on the planet. But it took him a lot of trying. As Ralph was experimenting with different compounds, it wasn't until batch number 409 that he was finally satisfied. And so the name stuck, Formula 409. I encourage you to be resilient as Ralph was. I wholeheartedly believe if you do this, you will achieve your goal. What do Oprah Winfrey, Sheryl Sandberg, Mark Zuckerberg, and Bill Gates have in common besides being some of the most wealthy and successful people in the world? They each had influential people helping them along their path to success. Maya Angelou was amongst the many people who helped Oprah Winfrey. Bill Gates credits part of his success to Warren Buffett's wisdom. Cultivating influential relationships can be a game changer to your career success. You may be thinking, I already have relationships, but do those relationships have the influence to support your career growth and advancement? All relationships are not created equally. I could have 20 close professional relationships. Sounds good, right? But do some of those relationships have the influence and decision-making power to advocate for you? If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is no, then creating a relationship map could be a worthwhile exercise. A relationship map identifies both your current relationships and new relationships you'd like to build. Start with building out a matrix on a document with the following key areas. Name, first and last name of the person, very straightforward. Your relationship to the person. Examples would be colleague, manager, or partner. Level in the organization. Highlight where the person sits in the organization. Key care-abouts. These are business issues that are top of mind for the person. Determine what those are and think about how you might help solve them. Sometimes you may not know enough about the person to identify their key care-abouts. In that case, consider asking someone who has a close relationship with them, or simply ask the person how you can be of service to them. Decision-making influence. Can this person influence key decisions regarding talent assignments and promotions? Yes or no? If the answer is no, could you develop this relationship for other purposes, like collaborating on work assignments? Strengthen your relationship with the person. You could base the strength on 3 levels. Level 1, close connection. If you called the person, they would immediately call you back. Level 2, cordial. If you saw the person on the street, they would say hello. Level 3, no connection. The person barely knows your name. Touchpoint opportunities. It could be sending them an email or scheduling time to meet with them. Consider the relationship map a resource just for your personal use that you can update over time as you learn more about your relationships and add more people to your network. Some of my clients shy away from building influential relationships as they don't want to come across as asking for something. The reality here is when you're cultivating strong relationships, it's about creating mutual value. That's why it's so important when you're building a relationship map to identify key careabouts for everybody on your list. That knowledge will arm you with information to use in sending articles, helping the person solve a problem, or even just being a good listener. Relationships are like seeds that you plant over time. The more you water the seeds, the more growth you will see. And the harvest will be achieving the career success that you want. One of my greatest accomplishments to date was writing my first book, Driven to Thrive. When I first thought about writing a book, I was intimidated. I thought to myself, who am I to write a book? Where would I even start? I knew that I would need to exercise personal accountability to become a published author. I put together a rigorous book writing schedule. I rallied my husband, life coach, and daughter as cheerleaders to keep me focused. I celebrated after writing each chapter and used that energy to propel me in writing the next chapter. I am proud to say that Driven to Thrive was published in 2021. Personal accountability enabled me to achieve my dream. If you're going to be successful in coaching yourself to achieve your career goals, you have to exercise self-accountability. Let's look at an example of how to do that. Here's the scenario. You've just received feedback from your manager that you didn't get the promotion you wanted because you're too passive in meetings. This feedback is disappointing, but you decide to check in with your other colleagues and mentors to determine if they agree with your manager's feedback. You confirm that they've noticed the same behavior. Based on the feedback, you decide to experiment with being assertive in meetings. You realize that in order to achieve your goal, you have to exercise self-accountability. Here are some actions you could take to activate your self-accountability. Create a 60-day plan with key milestones. The milestones may consist of you being assertive in meetings at least 3 times per week. Make your goal visible. Consider writing it on a Post-it note and placing it on your computer. You could even put the goal as a home screen on your computer and mobile devices. Having this visibility will keep the goal at the forefront of your mind. Identify key stakeholders to observe your new behavior. These are people who you trust and can be objective and constructive, and they are not your manager. Ask them to observe your behavior and provide feedback and support. The next action is to have a formal check-in with yourself and key stakeholders weekly. Select one day each week to debrief with yourself on how you showed up assertively in each meeting. Also, check in with your stakeholders. Based on the data you collect from them and yourself, determine the improvement opportunities and how you want to show up the following week. Celebrate when you hit a milestone. You've been assertive consistently for the past 60 days. Take time to celebrate your achievement. It could be having a favorite treat, buying yourself something you've always wanted, or even taking a day off work. Ask for help from your key stakeholders if you're not meeting your milestones. You selected them based on their ability to provide objective and constructive feedback. They can be quite helpful in giving you tips to help you achieve your goal, including role playing and practice. I know it's hard sometimes to admit when you need help. Trust me, I've been there. But the strongest people are those who know their own weaknesses. You can apply these practices toward any goal that you've set for yourself. The moment that you embrace and exercise self-accountability is the moment you've positioned yourself to achieve favorable change in your career and life. What gets in the way of people achieving the careers and lives they want? My theory is that it's inaction. People failing to advocate for themselves, stick with the problem, and move past their fear of failure. I encourage you to be relentless in pursuing your goals, even when you're faced with setbacks. Find a new way to move forward. I'm reminded of when I was pursuing a goal of becoming a coach with a Fortune 500 company. It was a 3-year journey of a lot of not right nows. In my heart, I knew delay didn't necessarily mean denial. So I stayed laser focused on my goal and took actions that included emailing them quarterly, sending them valuable articles, and making on-site visits. One day, I got an email inviting me to become a coach with them. Had I given up, I wouldn't be in my 3rd year coaching with one of the most admired companies in the world. So what are the next steps in pursuit of your goals? You might want to start by exploring career management strategies and resources available on my website at aliciadreese.com and in my book, Driven to Thrive. You might also benefit from these other LinkedIn learning courses to help you grow your confidence and resilience. Wherever your goals take you, I wish you the absolute best now and always.